Hi guys, welcome back to What You Watching. This is a news edition. Today we're going to talk about a couple things that have been in the news lately that we haven't gotten a chance to talk about yet. The first one being that AMC theaters took out a $500 million loan so that they could get through the summer without going bankrupt and having to close down any of their theaters. And the other thing is this war between AMC, Regal, and Universal, how Universal doesn't want to show all their movies in theaters, and AMC and Regal have combined forces to say they're not going to show any Universal films once theaters do reopen. Thoughts on either one of those?
It's never a good sign when a business has to take out that big of a loan. I mean, honestly, what's going on in the world today is crazy and all, but that much money to just get them through to August through August is a little crazy.
It is. I mean, I kind of understand it. At the same time, they're paying a lot of retail space, a lot of rent. They have a lot of locations. So even that alone per month is probably millions upon millions of dollars just in rent. And if they're not going to show theaters or have any kind of income coming in for 4 or 5 months, you got to weigh that out.
Well, one thing I know that they're doing is they're going back through, and they're themselves being almost a streaming site. They are renting out movies, older movies on their site. So they're getting at least some income, not a lot. I wish they would almost promote it a little bit more. I know if you're on the A list for the AMC, like we are, they've been giving you notifications, this new movie's out.
Sure, it can only bring so much in though.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that once this global crisis is over, they can still proceed back to normal. I mean, if they don't have any money, they're not going to have employees to come back because they're not going to be able to pay them. So I understand taking out the loan. Yes, it's a big loan, but it kind of makes sense if they want to further do what they're doing. What doesn't make sense, though, with the fact that they're taking out this large loan is to then turn around and say, you know what, we're just not going to show one of the biggest studios' movies going forward. And I get Universal put Trolls Worldwide, or Trolls World Tour, on direct-to-home video. You could rent it for $20, your whole family could watch it for $20. And it made a lot of money. About $100 million in 3 weeks, which is a great profit because they don't have to share with the theaters, Universal. So they said they're going to start doing that more. And they're going to cut out the middleman, basically, the theater. So, where do you land on that?
I'm siding with AMC and Regal on this one. I honestly think Universal overstepped. They could have handled it a lot better in saying, you know what, just during this time is when we're going to release things that were scheduled to come out, just that way. But for them to completely go, oh yeah, who needs theaters? That's an entire line of work. But
they didn't say that. They said they're thinking about putting select movies straight to home video. They still plan on having some kind of theatrical window for some of their movies. Meaning, I imagine next year when Jurassic World Dominion comes out, they're not going to put that right on home video.
Yeah.
It would lose them way too much money. But they will put some of their smaller stuff, but I think that's where my issue lies. I side with AMC for the most part, but my issue lies a lot in the fact that AMC is taking out a huge loan to make it through the summer. So how can you turn around and say, we're not going to carry movies when we reopen? You're going to need as much revenue as possible to get back on your feet. And Universal, look at the time we're in. This is unprecedented. People can't go to theaters right now. They are legitimately closed. Yes, that's why you made money on this movie. Plus, it's a sequel to a pretty beloved movie, the first one, that nobody thought was going to do well, and yet, boom, it made all the money in the world. So, what about any other movie you put out? Vin Diesel's Bloodshot. You put that on home video, I don't see a lot of people wanting to watch that for $20 at home.
I mean, honestly, once it comes out that movies can go back into the theaters, I think people would just wait for it to go down to the $2 rental or whatever on demand.
Why they'll go hit up a rental store, a Redbox, or something.
The whole reason to spend the extra money is to get the theater experience. You're getting to be at the theater in these big comfy chairs and see it on a big screen.
Correct.
With popcorn and the whole shebang. It's like, by taking that away, people are just going to be like, nah, I can wait a few more weeks.
Yeah, I can wait on that one. Or, you know, Trolls did so well, but if theaters were open and you put Trolls on home video, does it do as well? If it's up against a Black Widow or up against any other big release, 1917 still in theaters, you know, maybe a Parasite comes out of nowhere and people go see that in theaters. If you have something like that it's up against, does Trolls make any money?
No. I honestly don't think so. If people aren't stuck at home with their kids needing something to do, I don't think it would do a lot of money at home. Like I said, I think people would just wait on it.
Yeah, I think Universal's burning themselves here. They're burning a bridge that I don't think they want to burn. But at the same time, AMC's burning a bridge as well. A much smaller bridge, but also a bridge to revenue that they're going to need to get back on their feet. Especially because the National Alliance of Theater Owners, NATO, came out and kind of backed AMC and said Universal was making the wrong decision, but didn't really comment on which way they are I don't know. It was a weird time, weird statement from them. I don't think they really needed to get involved too much, but at the end of the day, you made $100 million in 3 weeks on Trolls. Yes, you don't have to pay the theater any percentage of that. But I can tell you they had to pay the streaming services some percentage of that. Your Vudu's, your iTunes, your Movies Anywhere, wherever people were getting it, you have to pay them at least something to carry your movie. So it made $100 million in 3 weeks. If in theaters, I mean, this movie was being looked forward to by a lot of people, myself included. I really liked the first Trolls. Yep. Way better than I ever thought I was going to. Unbelievable.
Anna Kendrick, man.
Her and JT, I don't know, they just had magic. It worked. Everybody loved it. But this movie goes into theaters in 3 weeks. I think it could pull $85 million in its first week and go up to like 140, 150 in 3 weeks pretty easily.
Yeah, I was going to say
pretty easily. So even if you have to pay your 35% to the theaters, you're still walking away with 95 or 100 million in gross revenue compared to the 85 they took from the 100 million it made. So they're actually losing money. I'm not sure what they're thinking here.
It makes very little sense on either side. Once again, I wish they would have handled it better on the Universal side, and I'm all for, fighting the injustice, so that's why I'm really for AMC. I'm really looking at who's handling this crisis and how they're handling it, and I'm kind of hoping we kind of side with the people who are handling it well. But for Regal to back them as well and be like, nope, we're not touching it either.
Means something had to have happened, right?
Because I don't see Regal taking out a $500 million loan. I'm sure they're taking out loans,
I'm sure,
it's not that huge. So
they're not as big of a chain as AMC is.
But that's just showing that they're still a very large chain, and they're also taking that stance. And I kind of wonder if more people are just going to keep taking that stance.
If other theaters are going to start. This reminds me a lot of a couple years ago. Last year? No, it wasn't last year. Yeah, last year. Sony versus Disney for Spider-Man. This is what it reminds me a lot of. Somebody wants a bigger chunk of the pie, and somebody doesn't want to give it up.
Yep.
That was Sony and Disney. Now, we don't have a Tom Holland in this situation who's going to drunkenly call Sony and be like, yo, you guys should figure this out. Let's work together. Gotta love Tom Holland for that. Amazing. But we don't have something like that here. But personally, I still think when theaters start reopening, you're going to see these two sides talking. I would not be surprised if by the end of the year, Universal movies are back in AMC's and Regals.
Yeah.
Maybe at a different rate, but there's no way either one of these sides can survive without the other. Streaming is huge. It's everywhere. That's the future of movies. I hope not. I love theatrical experiences.
You gotta have a theater.
I love them. But it is moving more towards that, where in theaters you're really only going to get your big, huge blockbuster movies. You're not getting small movies anymore in theater. I get that. But now is not the time. This is not the time for Universal to say, we're going all in on streaming, screw the theaters.
Yeah. No.
So
it's going to put so many people off on your product.
It is.
Just on the basis of that, where people are like, nope, you did wrong by them, dude.
Yeah,
no.
and it's such a big story now that even when theaters reopen, people are going to have this in their heads, and they're going to go, I can't support Universal. I'm mad at them for this or that or whatever, and it's going to take them a while to get back on their feet after all this too. It's just a bad look for both sides right now.
Yeah.
I want to continue seeing where this is going, and a quick check-in on obviously where theaters stand now, but they're all still closed. From our last video to now, nothing is reopened yet. Theaters aren't looking to reopen now until July with Tenet, Christopher Nolan's big theatrical release. That's going to be the first major movie to hit. So we got a couple more months before there's not going to be any real big things to discuss, real big things. But each time something like this comes out, we'll be here. We're going to talk about it. Maybe not right away. We know there's a ton of other channels that are doing it right away. But we like to take our time and really see. We don't want to jump on it day one, and then 2 days later they change their minds. It's changed. We wanted to let it sit in at least a week and kind of marinate on it and have our thoughts together. But Universal, you're doing the wrong thing. AMC, I think you jumped the gun too much.
You're taking a hard stance.
Let's see where that goes. I support you for now because I love my theaters. I love my A-list. $20 a month, watch movies. It's amazing. But I'll go, if I have to go somewhere else to watch Universal because AMC won't play them, I will. I'm that guy. But let's see what happens. Can't wait to check back in with this in another week or two, see where everybody's at. Yep. So, as for now, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Will you see movies in the theater still? Will you watch them if they're at home? Who do you think's right? Universal or AMC, Regal, NATO? Let us know your thoughts. Yep. Like, subscribe, all that stuff that you guys know how to do. And we'll see you again soon. We should have a review video up within the next couple of days. Check that out. Let us know what you think. And we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.